The initial impetus for the magazine was simply the Scottish music scene, and we reflected virtually nothing but music and Scottish music. We diversified and covered, I suppose, life and music in the north of England, because again, that's another area we felt wasn't being covered. So I think we've gone from that and slowly diversified into a national paper, partly through necessity, economic necessity, but also I think we want a challenge. I think people living in Scotland, it's not just a case of wanting to do good in your own backyard. I think you've got to take on an influence and work with as many people as you can. It's taken, we've been in existence for 2 years now, and I think it's probably taken that time to develop some kind of house style. And I think, as you're saying, I think part of our house style is maybe that element of politics, music and fashion, and I think it's that mix. And I think other magazines, particularly with regard to things like politics, I think are starting to maybe follow in our footsteps.
I got a whip. It's insane. I got a whip. It's insane. I got a whip. It's insane.
Britain particularly, there's a lot of pressures on people in their lives that have come about through politics, and I think we'll have to, i.e. everybody, has to address them. And much as I, say, love pop music and film and such like, I think at the end of the day, there has to be a serious input. I think people have made the mistake, particularly with, the usual youth-orientated magazines. They assume that younger people are, can't handle politics, aren't interested, but that is not the case. I think they want to deal with the things that affect their lives. Our main photographer is Gavin Evans, who just literally knocked on our door very early on in our career and said, "Gives a job." And it was our luck that he had a tremendous talent, I think. I think our style, again, is probably very, very conventional in photographic terms. Again, particularly in pop music journalism, I think that there's a great temptation to be very arty, crafty and do kind of fantouche, can I say that? Fantouche kind of photographs, but I think Gavin's style is very much kind of classic portraiture, because at the end of the day, we want to know what the person looks like in the feature, and I think his style is simple but classic.
I got a whip. I got a whip. I got a whip. It's insane. It's insane.
I think the majority of contemporary, if you like, music and fashion magazines now are really trying desperately hard to impress, and the design tends to be furious. The writing is kind of overheated, and I think it's easy to forget at the end of the day we're trying to communicate with people. The writing style has to be understandable. We're not afraid of putting our own criticism into, say, about music or film, but the main thing is we've got to be understood. And also we have to have the words of the artist. It's very easy nowadays, particularly in popular music, to think, oh, I'm the writer, therefore everyone wants to know what I've got to say. That's not the case. I think people by and large want to know what the musician has to say, what the fashion designer has to say, what the director has to say, and I think a lot of contemporary magazines have lost sight of that fact.